So before we get into the video, I'll first want to thank everybody who would have contributed in some kind of way to me getting the transmission for the vehicle fixed. It's up and it's running. We had a little issue in between the process of getting the transmission worked up, but God is good. Everything is a-okay. Now, I want to also say special thanks to the new members of the platform, the paid members of the platform. I want to let you all know that I really appreciate you all. So those people are hello there, Sticks and Mr. Gregory. I want to thank you all for being paid members. And there is something very special for paid members in the emote section. So when we are having live videos, I've been working diligently behind the scenes to make the platform a bit more inclusive for just us who basically use my platform. So we have some really cool emotes to represent our platform that you all will be able to use when we are doing live streams. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all using your emotes when we do actually go live in the future. So let's get into the video. So a couple of days ago, the UNC announced a whole revitalization plan basically for the whole of Trinidad. That is the way I'm summing it up. And they would have ruled out several projects that they want to do to take Trinidad and Tobago from the third world dust ball that it is into a first world era. And I must say, compared to all the other visions, the Vision 2030s and the 2020s, I think UNC really looking to knock it out of the park with this idea that they have. It was brilliantly executed. I paid attention to a lot of the stuff that they want to actually bring to Trinidad and Tobago, and I must say, when it comes to setting the stage for moving Trinidad and keeping Trinidad as the mecca of the Caribbean, everything that they showed in that presentation, it's just amazing. And the most I can say is I hope that God gives our Prime Minister nothing but health and strength so that she can live to see the realization of her plan. And I hope that I'm definitely around to see it because it looks so futuristic that I was blown away literally. I was like, yo, this is what we going with. And I was really proud to see that they were able to come together with something like this so soon. We're talking about literally within the first year of their governance, they are coming with a plan this big. Now, we can't be too surprised because this is UNC we're dealing with. And usually, when UNC is always in government, they always have a lot of plans to move the nation forward. I felt like the only time we have ever had plans to move Trinidad and Tobago forward outside of the UNC being in government was Patrick Manning's 2020 vision. But outside of that, nothing else hasn't happened by any PNM minister, which in this case would have happened to be Keith, who didn't move the nation forward in any type of way, but basically held it back. And I always have this concept that I believed in, that you cannot become a first world nation with a third world mentality. I stand on that. But it seems like for some strange reason, PNM is hell bent on keeping Trinidad and Tobago with a third world mentality mindset. And just when I'm thinking that the stupidity cannot reach new heights or no new heights, here comes Brian Manning. Now, let's be honest. If Patrick Manning was literally the statesman and the man who had a vision for the PNM, Brian Manning is literally Patrick from SpongeBob. He's dumb as nails. And, I was so surprised to hear him open his mouth and say that this is basically his father's 2020 vision that the UNC is taking. And I'm saying in my head, like, what? Are you daft? Because you see, the reality of what Brian Manning is actually saying and why it makes absolutely no sense is because even if it's a case, let's just say the UNC borrows certain stuff or would have took certain things that they knew was in Patrick Manning's 2020 vision, how could that be a bad thing? You see, the reason why this came out of Brian Manning's mouth is because the PNM's mindset has always been division. So as far as they are concerned, We don't want nobody to move the nation forward. This is my own. This is our own. That is the concept they have. They're not truly for unity. They're not truly for nation, one nation moving forward. No, this is our plan and you can't execute it. But this is something that is done around the world by many other governments, taking ideas from the past and moving forward, or taking ideas from other administrations and implementing it. But you see, the statement that he made was so stupid, so ridiculous. You are complaining that the UNC might be taking ideas and concepts of your father's plan to implement, to move the nation forward, when you had a prime minister that you sat in his cabinet, the same prime minister who said he would go as far as Likoto to work Obia to get your father out, which eventually led to your father dying from grief and questionable circumstances. You now sit in that man's cabinet for over 10 years. That man did nothing with your father's plan. Nothing. There is nothing in Keith Rowley's story that has anything of Patrick Manning's legacy in it. He made sure that your father's legacy was not continued. He even did a book on it, which personally to me, he didn't complete the name of the book, because the book should really be from Mason Hall to Whitehall. I lied about it all. But at the end of the day, he literally wrote a book and tried to wash out your father's legacy completely from it. So here it is now. You have the United National Congress taking up the mantle, literally thinking about saying, listen, we want to move this thing forward, and sounding the horn, right, to get this thing off the ground. And here you come with the most stupid narrative that they are taking your father's idea. You should be proud. You should be proud that some government is at least still thinking about moving the nation forward. But again, I'm not surprised that this would have come out of your mouth, because let's be honest, what has been the PNM's legacy for the last 10 years? So we had the Red House, which literally took how many years to refurbish? And then right after it was refurbished and everybody went in, Donna Cox was complaining about water falling on her head. Literally, that the legacy of PNM after they spent all that money to refurbish Red House. Water falling on the minister's head. But let's not talk about that. What about the brand new hospital that Keith opened, that David Naked went literally 2 days after and debunked that the hospital was not finished, right? And then right after that, a pipe rupture inside of the hospital and flooded out 3 floors. That is what you call moving the nation forward. That is what you call development and proper infrastructure, right? But let's not stop there. What about Terence Biscuit Singh? Terence Biscuit Singh company that his wife works for, what is the company? I think Unicommer. They got the contract to do the avenue, which by the way was supposed to be a government revitalization plan of the avenue. You remember that? PNM said they were going to turn the avenue into a boardwalk, right? And divert the traffic, and it would be a place for tourism, and they would put Tantan and Sagaboy at the beginning of the avenue, which I was highly against, because we all know Carnival belong in the savannah, and I didn't like the idea that they were about to take that revenue that clearly belongs to the community of Belmont St. Anne's, right? Take that revenue and literally take that revenue and give it to the people on the avenue, right? I wasn't cool about that. I felt like Carnival needed to stay there and people needed to benefit, but that was the PNM's plan. But what did that plan turn into? Well, what did Unicommer do? They got the contract to fix the pavement. They repaired the pavement, which wasn't really damaged, by the way. They repaired the pavement. Then after they repaired the pavement and they paved it off, they stained the pavement. Then when they stained the pavement now, they felt like the staining of the pavement wasn't good enough. So they stained it again. Then after they stained it again, somebody noticed, about wait now, the pavement has no wheelchair access. So they destroyed the pavement again and then made points where now wheelchair could actually access on the pavement now. But then they wasn't comfortable with what they did. So what did they do again? They went and they cut up the pavement with grinding saws, saying that they put in designs in the pavement, right, to give the pavement a fancy design. But then when you think they were done there, what did they do again? They restain the pavement because they say because they cut up the pavement, the staining got damaged, so they had to restain it. And then after that, they put some cheap lights on the avenue that uses solar power. And how long did that contract go on for? Roughly 2.5 years. 2.5 years to do a pavement from one end of the avenue to the next end. That's P&M legacy. But it's so funny that Brian Manning would come and talk about these things that he is condemning the UNC for doing, when it's the same hospital that the P&M didn't want to open to. And again, this is information that I would have gotten. I can confirm it, but I was in the Couvers Children's Hospital. That hospital saved my life. The same hospital that the P&M said wasn't good enough to be opened. I was in there, and I remember 2 weeks before it was time to release me from the hospital, there was a big emergency on the hospital. Everybody was running around like headless chicken. Why? Because Brian Manning was rushed to the Couvers Children's Hospital, apparently because he had COVID, and it was the best hospital to deal with him. So here you are now posting on your social media about UNC stealing your father's plan to move the country forward, when your same government condemned the project that the UNC built, which is the Children's Hospital in Couva that saved your life. Make it make sense. At the end of the day, people, make a better version of yourself every day. And if you made it this far in the video, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It lets YouTube know that I exist. And most importantly, I'd like to give a shout out to, we have a little advertiser on the platform, so I'd like to give a shout out to Bushman Audio. Thank you for sponsoring the video, brother. I really appreciate it. People, give Bushman Audio a call if you're looking to upgrade your music or entertainment. They even do music for yards, homes, and compounds. So check out the brother and let me support local. I go on.
A jet to holiday sounds good, but you know what's better? Electro Mobile Audio. For 5 years, and it has been running the complete system on the vehicle for that time, up to now where we added an monoblock. This amp has been playing 4 6-inch on the doors and an 8-inch subwoofer, and in all its time it has never failed, not even once. In this vehicle, we control both Electro Mobile Audio's past and their present. While we have the 5-year-old amp in this vehicle, we also have the all-new Electra 1000-watt amplifier right next to it. In this vehicle, that is being used to play the Electro Mobile Audio R8 subwoofer. And again, this sub is 4 years old and counting. For both wholesale and retail inquiries of either of our Electro Mobile Audio or Canasong products, contact us today at 293-6679.